This is a how-to video on how to create a change management strategy using the ADIO change management methodology. Let's look at how it all fits together. You've created a case for change, stakeholder assessment, and change impact analysis, and these three documents now inform your change management strategy, and then your change management strategy informs your detailed change plans. This is an example of an outline for a change management strategy. Yours is going to be specific to your project needs. Starting with the inputs used to develop the strategy, this is a good place to bring people along, to show them what information you used to create your strategy. That would be your case for change, your leadership interviews, your change impact analysis, your stakeholder assessment, those kinds of information, anything else you might have done before you create your change management strategy. Then provide some summary level findings so that based on those documents that you've done, what are the key findings that the reader for the change management strategy needs to know about in order to understand why you chose to create the strategy the way that you've outlined it in this document. Next, the change management components. So this is a summarized view of the strategy. It's a really good idea in your change management strategy to have a one-page summary somewhere in your strategy, because after you've aligned on the strategy with all your different leaders and project team members, you are then going to be able to use that one-pager in other meetings with other stakeholders. Next are your key activities. So this is where you're taking your key components of your change management strategy and putting them on a timeline. It helps people understand when the different activities are going to take place. And lastly, a 1 to 2 page drill down on each component. So whatever you've identified in number 3 here on the change management components, you are then going to drill down on each of those components with specific information on how things will be done on this project. Now we're going to look at some example slides from a change management strategy based on the outline we just discussed. So here's an inputs example where we're saying leadership interviews, there was an organizational impact assessment, an implementation plan, and cultural considerations. That information is what was used to create the change management strategy. We didn't put in an example of the summary findings that we had in the outline because they will be very specific to the information you have created for your project. However, the next section of the document is the change management components. This is where you have created a summary of what you're going to do to manage the change for the project. And in this how-to video, we actually have 2 different examples. This first one outlines the components as stakeholder engagement, communication, training, and measuring readiness. It gives the objectives for each of the components and then the elements or the key activities below. This is a second example of a change management components slide. This one focuses on enhanced employee experience, visible leadership, engagement and training, and strategic sequencing in order to transition to a globally ready, willing, and able workforce. For your change management component slide, it is going to be a roll-up of the details of how you plan to transition the workforce. In the outline, we talked about having a key activity slide. This is a key activity slide based on a timeline. Timelines are very helpful for people to understand what's coming and, of course, when it's coming. Now we get into the drill down slides. There's a drill down slide for each of the components that were outlined in the first example of the change management components slide. So the first one was stakeholder engagement. And what you're looking to do is highlight what are you going to do that is unique to this project to manage the change from a stakeholder engagement perspective. And in this case, we are using a change agent network. We're focusing on highly impacted people, leadership engagement, and a good experience for the extended project team, or the SMEs. That was important to this client. Therefore, that's why it's on the drill down page. The other thing I want to point out on this page is in the top right-hand corner, there's a little navigational icon which helps the reader know which component you're on, particularly if you're doing more than one page on your drill downs. Next, we move into the communications component and what we want to do in the communications area. In this case, we're talking about the different phases of the project and what we want to focus on across the top. And in the bottom, we're looking at what are the different channels that we're going to use in order to introduce the program, build excitement, understand the changes, etc. Next is the training component drill down. We want people to understand the difference between quick reference guides, web-based training, hands-on scenarios, instructor or virtual instructor-led training, and why we use them when. We haven't yet created any curriculum for the stakeholders, nor have we done necessarily a training needs assessment. So right now we're just trying to educate people on the different components of training. And this is the last component, measuring readiness, where we have the drill down example. For all these different drill down examples, what you're looking to do is to outline in an easy to digest format what you're planning to do in each of the areas or components of your change management strategy. You're trying to get alignment from the leaders, the project team, the subject matter experts, and ensure they have a better understanding about how they're going to be involved and where you're going to be working together before you start creating your detailed change management plans. Those detailed change management plans are often in Excel and have so much detail, it's hard to bring your stakeholders along using that detailed plan. Much easier to align on a change management strategy. Thank you. This information was created by ADIO's Change Management Community of Practice for you.